Almost 1 year since launching, the PACE Bike Share program in downtown Knoxville had a lot more riders than anticipated. In that time, they clocked in over 18,000 rides, longer than 5 minutes, and biked almost 45,000 miles. Now, the colder weather certainly means fewer bike rides, but Visit Knoxville doesn't think a lull will last that long. 10 News reporter Shannon Smith looks at the big impact that PACE bikes are having on our community. Shannon?
John, Visit Knoxville says locals and visitors are taking advantage of the PACE bikes. Riders burnt millions of calories and covered thousands of miles on these rented bikes. Rain or shine, their popularity isn't slowing down.
With 200 bikes at 13 stations throughout downtown, it's hard not to stumble across a PACE bike.
The really cool part is how the community has embraced this, not even from the locals, but to the visitors also.
President of Visit Knoxville, Kim Bumpus, says the success of the PACE bikes is bigger than they anticipated, even with a wet year.
The weather in 2018, from February to today, it had something like 145 rain days. So we really did good even despite the weather.
9,100 people downloaded the app to rent a PACE bike. Since the bikes rolled out February 1st of last year, people together burnt 2.6 million calories, eliminated over 4,000 car trips, and prevented about 6 tons of carbon dioxide emission.
Some of our heaviest used stations are right there at Visit Knoxville in the Visitor Center. Some of the breweries, go figure, and then the University of Tennessee has great ridership as well.
The city doesn't make much money off the fees people pay to rent bikes. Instead, the PACE company uses that money to keep them in circulation.
If a bike gets thrown in the river, or a bike breaks, or the bikes need to be redeployed daily, that's what our partner does.
Bike use isn't tracked month by month, but they don't get as much use in the winter. Bumpus says the PACE program has cemented itself here, and there's only more to come.
As we look to the future of what does mobility look like, I think you'll start to see a lot of neat additions as we move into 2019.
Anyone can access these bikes 24/7 if you have the app downloaded to unlock them, but don't let the winter scare you away from giving those bikes a try. John?
And good for all those people who have. Shannon, thank you. A new law has Knox